Which notice why I've got like cinnamon on the top of my coffee. I'm like, this is great, but if I inhale slightly too fast, this coffee's going to go, whoa, and go everywhere.
Karl just doing cinnamon challenge like it's 2018.
The cinnamon challenge was the funniest thing because while it was a thing, there was always that one person you get be able to convince to try it because that doesn't sound too difficult. And then every time it's the same thing. Puh!
Alright, so here's the cinnamon. Alright? Alright, here you go.
We're not talking about today, folks. Today we're talking about what I personally consider to be the scariest movie ever made, The Descent. So welcome, one and all, to another episode of Wiki Weekend, the series where I, your host of this episode, Karl Smallwood, scour the lengths and breadths of the internet to find a wiki on a subject I'm interested in and bring it forward for discussion with my good friend, Lucas Holland.
Hello there.
And as mentioned, today we're talking about The Descent. And hey, just need to mention as well that today's video is sponsored. More on that in a moment. Cheers, Brian, for the help.
Yay.
I do like when we can refer to sponsors by like their actual first name, because it's just nice to talk to someone arranging a sponsorship and it's not like a corporation who's like clearly using AI. It's just a dude who's like, yeah, I'm Brian, I've got something I want to mention on your channel. Can I do that? I was like, fuck yeah, Brian, let's get to it. But before that, Lucas, what do you know about the film The Descent? Because you're not the biggest horror fan, are you?
I am not, no, but I do remember The Descent because the idea of going down into a tight cave is horrifying.
Okay. Okay, move! Now!
And I mentioned in the introduction that The Descent is, in my opinion, the scariest movie ever made. And that's because The Descent just scratches every single one of the itches I don't want to have scratched when watching a movie that's scary. Like, 3 of my biggest fears are directly addressed in this movie. The dark, enclosed spaces, and going on a work trip with people who expect to do physical activities.
There's only one way out of this chamber, and that's down the pipe.
Yeah, because that's the thing. This movie has some kind of monsters in it, right? But it feels unnecessary.
The monsters do feel necessary, but for anyone out there who's not familiar with The Descent, let's let the wiki guide our hips on that one, shall we? So, The Descent is a 2005 British horror film. Yeah, that's not bad, eh? Filmed on location in Britain with British actors, written and directed by Neil Marshall. The film stars actors Shauna MacDonald, Natalie Mendoza, Alex Reid, Saskia Mulder, nora-jane and Mayanna Buring. The plot follows 6 women who enter an uncharted cave system and struggle to survive against monstrous creatures inside. And as you mentioned, Lucas, the addition of the monsters makes the film less scary in my opinion, because there's just the idea of being trapped in a cave is terrifying to me. I am terrified of enclosed spaces. The idea of being trapped underground in a cave is genuinely anxiety-inducing in me. I don't like it. You don't need to put monsters in there. I'm already scared of the cave.
Yeah, and there's a lot of these kind of films where it talks about like climbing or, you know, cave crawling and stuff, and just, yeah, the general idea, like, for example, another movie, I know it's less of a horror and more of a thriller, but like 127 Hours, was it?
Oh yeah.
Where he gets trapped in the rock in a climbing incident, and I'm like, I don't know how you could make a scarier, like,
a scarier
situation.
scenario to find yourself in, right? Of just trapped completely alone with no choice but to hack off your own limb with a penknife. And I mentioned, Lucas, that The Descent, for me, is the scariest horror movie because just it seemingly targets every single one of my anxieties and fears. Is there a movie like that for you? An audience at home, same question. Is there a movie that you consider to be the scariest movie because it specifically seems designed to cause you anxiety?
So, I have never watched these films because they specifically target one of my anxieties.
Okay.
But the idea of the Nightmare on Elm Street films, where Freddy Krueger can come and attack you in the one moment of peace you get at night where you can fall asleep. It's like
So the idea of your nightmares being
horrifying.
controlled specifically scratches that itch.
You'll pay for this with your children's blood!
Oh, right. How you gonna get him? Skeleton power?
I'll strike where you cannot protect them! In their dreams.
Yeah, I often get like sleep paralysis and stuff like that, and that's scary
Fuck
enough. But imagine like Freddy Krueger coming at you and then sleep paralysis hitting.
I might be able to like reassure you and say the Freddy Krueger movies are not scary after the second one because they start to more lean into like the gags, it's the industry parlance for the effects and the kills. But I can see why that would specifically, like, if someone has, like yourself, just that anxiety about like nightmares and sleep paralysis, an entire film series that centers around a man who can get you in your dreams. That's not great.
Exactly. It's like, it's the one place I'm sometimes safe.
Because the other fear that I have is thalassophobia, which is the fear of open water. I'm not sure if that's the specific definition, but it's generally characterized as a fear of open water or drowning. So there's some movies that involve drowning in water that I'm okay with. Like, I'm fine with shark movies for the most part. But movies where people are underwater for an uncomfortable amount of time really fucking like gets my heart going. I don't like those movies.
So you're a big fan of The Abyss then?
I fuck that. 'Cause I don't like. I don't know what it's almost like subconscious. But when I'm watching a movie where someone is underwater, I find myself holding my breath as the character is underwater. And if I can't hold my breath as long as the character can hold their breath, I get really anxious and want to turn the movie off.
Just Karl watching Mission Impossible, like, Tom Cruise, please breathe.
Tom Cruise, I fucking hell. And he did it for 6 minutes. I can't do that. And you know what, Lucas? Speaking of improving your lung capacity and general fitness, let's talk about today's sponsor, shall we? So today's sponsor is Mr. Brian McCallum, and they asked us to mention their online personal training business. If anyone out there is looking to get a little fitter, lose some love handles, or get in shape in preparation for Christmas or the New Year. Fucking hell, the New Year's coming up, Lucas.
I know.
We need to start thinking about it now. Brian McCallum has your back with their business, BM Personal Training. And we did check before. I was like, wait, does BM mean something? It's like, it's probably the guy's name. We felt like right idiots. Well, myself and Lucas, huge proponents of physical fitness. I go to the gym each and every day. You probably can't tell because you only see me from the waist up, but trust me, all down here, it's ripped as fuck, I swear.
Karl's got abs, man.
I've not. That's been my goal for ages, that. But every time I think about getting a six-pack, I think, but I also like pizza. But when I asked Brian to describe their personal training business, they specifically singled out people who are new to the idea of exercising or haven't exercised in a long time and need that additional guidance and help when it comes to working out safely and being able to visualize and work towards whatever goals they have, which I greatly appreciate. I've worked out for many years now, but when I first started going to the gym proper, it was very handy to have someone to just guide me on things like proper form. How to do a press up properly, like basic stuff like that, which admittedly is basic, but if you don't know the basics, you can really screw yourself over.
Proper form is really important. As you say, you can really harm yourself, but also just the idea that, like, even to this day, I've gone to the gym on and off for, like, my entire adult life, and there's still a couple of machines that I see in the gym and I just avoid because I don't know how to use them.
And speaking of equipment and being big scared to use it, Brian notes that prior to embarking on the course, I have a one-on-one consultation, which may or may not happen immediately because Brian is based in New Zealand, so factoring time differences there. But they do say that they'll be able to work to whatever someone has available. So if you have only very basic equipment in your house, you can work towards that. He mentions that something as simple as, a barbell and some dumbbells would be enough to get a full fitness routine worked out for you. In that vein, Lucas, what is the one piece of equipment that you refuse to use? Like, what's the one you're most big scared of?
It's always the hip machines.
Those look terrifying. That's like a saw machine, that, doesn't it?
It's something that I've recently been proud to overcome my fear of, because the only people I ever see use those hip machines, it's really attractive women. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to hit their level, maybe I should be using those machines.
Brian mentioned in his pitch to us that as part of the consultation, he'll talk to the person and go over their fitness goals and what they hope to achieve. And I really hope you can just hold up a picture of somebody might want to look like this.
I mean, that's the goal, right? It's like, I'm not trying to say, that in a creepy way earlier. Just like when you look at someone in the gym and you go, hey, they look awesome. I
want to be able to do that.
Doing what they're doing because I want to look like that. Yeah.
I'm not embarrassed to admit, my initial impetus to get in shape, there was two things. One was I was at a house party, and I think it's part of King's Cup or something. It was like, oh, just touch your toes. Do you know the thing people start doing challenges do 20 press, let's do this. And I couldn't touch my toes, and I was embarrassed of not being able to touch my toes. So I used to be able to do the full splits when I did Taekwondo. As a teenager, and it pissed me off. So now every morning 10 toe touch, I can still touch my fucking toes. So I can do the full on whooah, like bollocks. I was embarrassed I couldn't do it. The other one is I was playing Resident Evil 5 and I noticed that Wesker is my height. I went, you know what? I want to look like Wesker.
Karl just started teleporting everywhere.
That's how fit he is, right? Imagine getting so fit you can start flash stepping everywhere. But yes, well, thank you to Brian. Check out the links you'll find below if anything we mentioned sounds interesting. And without further ado, let's get back to The Descent. Cheers, mate. Back to The Descent now, Lucas, and filming took place in the United Kingdom. Exterior scenes were filmed at both Ashridge Park, Herefordshire, and in Scotland. Because the filmmakers considered it too dangerous and time-consuming to film in an actual cave, all interior scenes were filmed on sets built at Pinewood Studios. And I do like that you mentioned this before we started recording. Surely it being too dangerous will be enough of an excuse not to do it?
Yeah, it's kind of an insult just to slap in the and also time consuming. It's like, if it's going to be dangerous to film in caves, is that not enough of an excuse to not throw your actors in the caves?
And the caves are super dangerous. A script I researched a couple of weeks ago. And I just didn't like having to research this script. It really just did not sit well with me. It was the Nutty Putty Cave incident. And I know, Nutty Putty Cave sounds really fucking funny. What happened to the dude who died there was not funny. And there's this really small opening called I think it's the birth canal. You can probably guess why it's called that in that cave. And some dude thought he found it and tried climbing in head first. He'd actually gone down the wrong fucking hole, got stuck upside down in the cave for 24 hours. And they couldn't get him out.
Yeah, and
I was researching that story, and every new detail I researched just sent my anxiety levels through the roof. Like the part where it's at some point we were debating, should we just break his fucking legs and pull him out? And I'm like,
What are you so worried about, Sarah? Look at me. Okay, breathe. Breathe, okay? Hey, listen to me. Listen to me. What are you afraid of?
God. And, this is why just the idea of caving is terrifying. Walking in a big giant cave and, looking at a few stalactites, whatever, sure. But doing the actual, proper crawling through tiny little caverns and stuff, absolutely zero chance. That sounds terrifying.
I would like to ask if there are any cavers out there, or any potholers, what do you get out of it? 'Cause I cannot see what you get out of it. I've got friends who do climbing. I'm also scared of heights. Look at me, I'm a fucking coward. That's why I'm on YouTube in my house. But when I ask them what do you get out of that, it's well, when you climb up to a high location, you get that feeling of I did it. You literally are higher up, you can see your progress. I don't imagine you get that with a cave.
I guess some people must get that kind of experience, surely, right?
But it is something I just don't like it. And I guess it's something that is addressed in The Descent, where the reason they end up in an unknown cave system is that one of the people in the film's well, I thought it'd be a fun adventure for us that we get to discover this cave. It's but did you tell anyone that we're here? Well, no, I thought we'd be out by now. It's so we're fucked? Yeah.
Try this. Where are we?
It hasn't got a name. It's a new system. I wanted us all to discover it. No one's ever been down here before.
Fucking kidding.
It is genuinely awful, and that's the thing.
It's possibly one of the worst scenarios I can imagine being trapped in, of like you are underground in a cave with people you don't like, and then monsters turn up.
Okay. Hello! Please! Is there anybody there? Hello!
And even if you like people and there's no monsters, even just the idea of getting stuck in a cave is genuinely absolutely horrible, because like you can't even like call for help or anything.
I think it's the fact as well, it's completely in the dark as well, and the idea of having a slowly dwindling light source. Mm-hmm. You know as well, in that situation when the light, and they even mention like, once these lights go out, we're actually properly mega fucked. As long as we can see where we're going, we have a chance. If we can't stop moving, because if these lights go out, that's it. There's no hope if we have no lights, so we have to keep going.
Guys, it's amazing, but the batteries on our lights will run out, so I suggest we keep moving.
Wait a minute, wait. What is Beth? Juno, light up one of your flares.
Beth, we don't have time for this.
Just light a flare.
Just the fact as well, like you mentioned that climber earlier, but there's many stories of experienced cavers, or whatever they call themselves.
Fucking big dick heroes. Billy Big Balls over here.
You know, just going into the wrong cave and never making out, and it's like, if experienced people have that happen to them,
it's
like,
what I don't get of, like,
you decide to do it?
Why is it the people who have these like cast iron 40-pound balls are the ones who want to squeeze into the tight crevasse?
I guess that goes for anything, right? Like, yeah, you can be experienced in something, there's still an element of danger, but out of all thrill-seeking, adrenaline-rushing activities, I don't get why caving is one of them.
Yeah. I understand almost every single other one, like, throwing yourself out of a plane, climbing on something, surfing, any other extreme sports, but just the fact there's nothing in a cave except for darkness, wet, and then, of course, the cave scorpions, which are a real thing that I found about when I went into a cave once. I went to, Mammoth Caves in America. And I thought, Mammoth Caves, part of the reason why it's so famous, it has these big underground caverns. And I thought, it'll be alright if it's these big underground caverns. To get to the big underground caverns, though, you have to go down, like, the tiny little enclosed spaces cut out by miners in the 40s and 50s. Keep in mind, I'm 6'3", so I've got to crouch down the entire time down there. Also, halfway down there, it's like, yeah, look out for cave scorpions. What are they? What is that? And fucking horrifying, and they're all above your head constantly, and you can feel them skipping around.
Whoa. No, I just waited for the moment when they go, hey, do you remember that giant worm from Gears of War 2 that eats the crew? Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, like, I won't be surprised if I was down there. Like, oh yeah, this is where the krill are. I'm like, okay, I'm done. Get back to the descent now. Production. When Neil Marshall's Dog Soldiers was a moderate success. And Lucas, have you seen Dog Soldiers?
I've not, no.
It is a film I've mentioned multiple times, both on Wiki Weekends and on Fact Fiend. It is one of my favourite werewolf movies because it's so stupid. And the plot is, a bunch of soldiers in the woods doing a training exercise, fucking werewolves turn up. And it has this amazing climax where all the soldiers are in a house and the werewolves try to get in. It's like, okay, Home Alone time. And they set up like a bunch of traps to stop the werewolves. Like they put a load of pans on the boil for boiling water to throw on them as they get in.
Come on! No, run!
They nail all the doors shut. They cut through stuff so the wolves will fall in. And then one guy's in the kitchen when a werewolf comes in, and he just throws everything in the kitchen at it and starts boxing the werewolf. And I found out after the fact that actor was supposed to be somebody else, but someone famous, that he might have been like a Jason Statham or maybe someone not as famous as he was at the time, but it was some actor who was supposed to be that role, and they dropped out at the last second. And apparently they went to a local boxing gym, found a guy who looked like he knew what he was doing and said, would you mind boxing a werewolf on camera? I was like, fucking yeah, let's do it. And that's how he got the role, and he fucking boxes that werewolf.
What do you do though if you're just a person in special effects makeup? You get told, okay, you're going to do some stunt work with a stunt actor. Oh, no. We just got a guy from the local gym to box the shit out of you.
As well, I'm a huge fan of the horror trope of, fuck this, I'ma fight it.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it doesn't always go well, but there's just, you have to respect the fictional character who sees this, like, unthinkable, like, primordial evil and thinks, I'm just gonna fucking punch it one.
I hope I give you the shits, you fucking wimp.
For example, there's a Friday the 13th movie where the guy does it. Jason backhands the guy's head off, but you got to give the dude respect for it. There's a Michael Myers movie where it's Busta Rhymes boxes Michael Myers and gives him what for. There's this movie where the guy boxes the werewolf.
It's one of my favourite forms of, short form content, like TikToks and Vines and stuff. Just people being scared in pranks and stuff, and it just going terribly wrong, and the person just, like, punches them in the face.
He immediately just socks the person in, like, the Halloween costume and fucks them up.
Are you going trick-or-treating?
No, probably.
But it's such a specific trope, though, of just like, guys, like, fuck it, I'm just going to fight this werewolf.
Yeah.
So, the idea of, if I'm going to go down, I'm going down swinging. And that's what that guy does, where, like, he actually does beat the werewolf, then, like, 2 more werewolves come in, and he has that hero motive, he goes, like, fuck it, and he fights them both, and it just cuts to black. Because he took out one of them.
That's I'd say at least you go down swinging, right?
Literally. Like, imagine just, like, what are you going to write on that guy's tombstone? I just went down swinging on a fucking werewolf. The director was initially wary of being typecast as a horror director, although he eventually did agree to make The Descent, emphasising, and I quote, they are very different films. Yeah, one's like, a really, literally claustrophobic, like, thriller until, like, the monsters turn up. About just a bunch of, like, friends completely having that friendship fractured and falling apart, and then again, monsters turn up. The other one is soldiers boxing werewolves.
I think I'd rather watch the soldiers boxing werewolves film.
It's very stupid. Like, there's jump scares, but it's not as, like, tension-inducing as The Descent. But casting. The filmmakers originally planned for the cast to be both male and female. However, Neil Marshall's business partner realised that horror films rarely have an all-female cast, which is true. I can't think of a single one. They no doubt exist, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. If there is one, let us know, folks. But The Descent, I think, stands out because it does have an all-female cast, which is, as you mentioned here, very rare for a horror movie, which normally have either an entirely male cast, a la Dog Soldiers, or mixed gender cast.
I think the ones that I can think of, it's usually mixed gender, because generally the trope is the last girl, right?
The final girl is a very common horror trope. You also have, like, the idea of, like, characters pairing up, which doesn't happen in this movie, which makes it interesting because it is ignoring a very well-worn and established horror trope. But you mentioned there, defying convention, Marshall decided to cast all women, and to avoid making them cliched, he solicited advice from his female friends. And I would be inclined to make fun of the idea of not knowing how to write women, but I've got to give the dude props of admitting I don't know how to write women. I'm just going to ask women what they do in this scenario and fold that into my direction and writing.
It's weird. It's almost as if they could have gotten a female writer on it.
Well, I think just asking women what they think is better than just assuming.
Definitely better than what 99% of productions do of, hey, is there a woman in the room? No. Okay, well, we can speak for them anyway. It's fine.
Why don't we go get a woman and ask them their opinion on whether or not this is realistic to what they do in that scenario? Nah, I know. So I'm going to give the director props on that one.
Yeah, 100%, because, most productions don't do that.
He also mentions here that Marshall went out of his way to cast women who had different accents to allow the audience, in particular an international audience, to better tell them apart.
Wakey, wakey! Good morning!
That's what you call it. It's fucking freezing.
Holly!
We'll keep him on the entire films at night.
I was going to say you could make them visually distinct, but yeah, that's fair enough. They are in dark caves the entire time.
He also mentions that Marshall felt this was a weakness of the marketing of Dog Soldiers because all the soldiers in that, despite all having distinct personalities, talk the exact same way. They all have like the same very broad accent, which made it more difficult to allow those characters to differentiate themselves to an international audience.
It's not like watching something like Sex and the City, where each one of them has their own personality and hair colour.
Yes. Like the Spice Girls, right? You get like it's the 5 female archetypes, like sporty, ginger, posh, scary, and baby.
No hat. No hat. All right. Run. This
You know what? They should have got the Spice Girls to be the main actors in this movie.
Can you imagine trying to get Victoria Beckham going into a cave like that?
They could have got Victoria Beckham as one of the monsters. She'd have done it. She'd have thrown herself into it. Speaking of which, creature design. In the film, the women encounter underground creatures referred to as crawlers by the production crew, but they are unnamed in the film. Marshall described the crawlers as cavemen who stayed underground. The director further explained, and I quote, "They've evolved in this environment over thousands of years. They've adapted perfectly to thrive in the cave. They've lost their eyesight. They have acute hearing and smell and function perfectly in the pitch black. They're expert climbers and can go up any rock face, and that is their world." The filmmakers kept the crawler design hidden from the actors until they were revealed in the scenes in which the characters encountered them to allow for a natural reaction, which is, the fuck is that thing?
I mean, that's totally valid, but I want to question, how many people are going into these caves that these things have been able to survive for that long?
Well, one of the things that's interesting about the film, and I don't like that the film outright confirms, hey, there actually are monsters. Mm-hmm. I liked it because when you're first watching the film, like the monsters aspect of it is really well hidden. It's like a twist that in addition to everything else, fuck it, monsters.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting that you could read like the monsters as metaphor, as monsters often are in horror movies, because they have a moment where one of the ladies just goes absolutely fucking ape shit with like one of like the climbing axes and takes out like 50 fucking monsters. And while she's doing that, she accidentally swings and hits her friend in the throat. When I was first watching the movie, I was like, are the monsters, is that just her going fucking crazy? Mm-hmm. And she's just gone ape shit, and that is like, the realization, she's actually hurt her friend. It's like, turns out, no, the monsters are actually real. Because as you mentioned, like, a lot of their biology doesn't make sense of how has no one found them before, what do they eat? And I think in the second movie, someone goes back and they add, like, more lore to the monsters, which is always great. Horror movies are way scary when you know what the monster is, but it's established like they hunt rabbits and shit. And you do see them early in the movie in the background of some shots, which is fun, but I did like the idea that are there monsters, or are these ladies just going so crazy that they're imagining that there are monsters there to justify in their head swinging around a fucking climbing axe and caving their friend's skull in?
Yeah, it would definitely be more interesting to leave it ambiguous. As someone who hasn't watched the movie and just is hearing the plot explained, but yeah, I do like the idea that, hey, you're just stuck in a cave, you think you're going to die, and all of a sudden you start going absolutely insane.
Yes, and you start thinking that you're seeing monsters. Like, the dark's making you see things that aren't there, but it is confirmed in The Descent Part 2. It mentions here that, the monsters are real. And they also, for that movie, doubled down on the monsters, like changing up their design to give them rows of shark-like teeth for ripping flesh, and they also created several, areas for the crawlers to live, so you can intuit things about how they live, such as a charnel house and what they refer to as the crawler crapper, so where they poop. They also as well had both male and female crawlers to suggest that they are an entire society of weird cave people.
Yeah, they've got their little village off on the side, they've got all the little houses and the sewage system, they've got everything.
It's also interesting because that same month there was another film released that had the exact same plot, The Cave. And that is another film about people going to a cave and it's fucking full of monsters.
Jack! There's another one!
Yeah, no, I did vaguely remember that there was another similar movie, and clearly, that's just they've become one in my brain a little bit, but...
And it is mentioned in reviews of The Cave that The Descent is better. It's the same basic premise, The Descent does it way better. It's better acted, it's scarier, it's better shot.
And for some reason as well, I also have the movie The Beach, like, in my head as being tangentially related, but no, that came out like 5 years earlier. So yeah, I don't know why, but just I guess the concept of just a group of people being stranded in a location is kind of like a horror movie vibe.
Yeah, it's very like, it's a classic horror movie trope, right? Of just being trapped in a singular location. Because hey, when you're trapped in a singular location, that's really cheap to film.
Yeah, and that obviously, you know, going back to a lighter note, in terms of like horror movies in general, like, that is the appeal of them, and obviously during Spooky Month, I'm sure we'll cover a few more. Generally, the vibe is low budget, high profit.
One of the benefits of a horror movie is that, by definition, a lot of your cast is not going to make it to the end of the film. As a result, you don't really want to hire too big an actor, because why would you pay an actor millions and millions of dollars if they're going to get killed off in the first 30 minutes?
But that's kind of the problem with a lot of horror movies that do hire anyone that's a big name, is because you can pretty much guarantee that they're going to be the first one dead, so you save on the cost of them being there, or they're going to be the only one to survive.
Do you know my favourite example of that?
Okay.
Deep Blue Sea.
Right.
So Deep Blue Sea, shark movie with Samuel L. Jackson. And the director of Deep Blue Sea talked about how there is a moment in that film where Sam Jackson is in the middle of giving a hero speech about how we're not going to let these motherfucking sharks get us on these motherfucking underwater bases. And they have a shark come out and get him halfway through his speech.
First, we're going to seal off this movie.
And they talked about how, like, no one thought we'd have the balls to kill off the biggest actor in the movie in the first 10 minutes. But after we did that, it basically put the audience on edge of, if Samuel L. Jackson can die indoors by being eaten by a shark, anyone can die. They also changed the ending of that movie as well, because LL Cool J was in it. LL Cool J was meant to die, and the survivors are going to be like generic handsome action dude and generic like attractive action lady. But audiences, and this is one of those rare examples of like test audiences actually having a point and improving a movie, where every single like test audience who watched the movie is like, we don't want that lady to survive, it's her fault.
As a side effect, the sharks got smarter.
She's the one who made the sharks smart. People don't know, Deep Blue Sea. They genetically engineer sharks to make them more intelligent. I believe it was advertised like Jaws with a PhD. So audiences felt that she was the one responsible for everyone getting attacked by sharks indoors. Rules of movie would dictate that she would have her comeuppance, preferably by sharks. So they actually rewrote the movie. So they actually rewrote the ending of the movie to have that lady eaten by a shark, and then brought LL Cool J back in to record a bunch more scenes because the audience liked him. Which they probably should have realised, because LL Cool J is like ladies love Cool James.
LL Cool J is basically known for just being charming, right?
So instead of having the standard thing you'd have in a movie of male and female, like, you know, main characters get together at the end, it's like, no, fuck it, bromance movie with LL Cool J and whoever was playing that dude.
Shit, it could have been worse. I could have let him eat your ass.
It's like, you don't need to know. LL Cool J was there.
LL Cool J is the best character in that movie because he's a chef. And he has one of my favourite, like, horror movie one-liners, where the shark gets in, and he hides in his oven, and the shark turns the oven on. And LL Cool's like, there's no fucking way I'm dying in my own oven. And he breaks his way out, and then explodes the shark.
I have no idea what LL Cool J is like in real life, obviously, but
He sounds awesome if that's like what he did, if he was willing to, like, you know, do dumb stuff like that for the movie.
yeah, like the fact that he's not even an actor, but he somehow managed to make an acting career happen out of just like sheer charisma.
Yeah, he's great. And yeah, I love that movie. And one last thing to mention about The Descent, Lucas, because thinking about it, it makes perfect sense, but I'd never put two and two together without it being spelled out for me. So, it's mentioned here that the creators of the 2013 Tomb Raider reboot based the depiction of Lara Croft on the characters as seen in The Descent. Specifically, like Lara in that game is like fucking swinging that climbing axe and just caving people's skulls in. And he's like just this scrambling like mess dealing with a horrific situation. I can see it, but I would have never put two and two together because I would have never thought The Descent would be popular enough to inspire something like that.
I definitely wouldn't have put them together, but what I do put together is Lara Croft from that game and like the guy from Far Cry 3 as being two of the most jarring player experience I've ever had, of them crying over killing a person and 30 seconds later becoming just like the most proficient killer of all time.
Yeah, so people don't know what Luke's referring to there. In like the Tomb Raider reboot, Lara Croft like breaks down in tears when she like kills one guy with like a knife.
Oh God!
And then 40 seconds later, you're getting bonus XP for headshotting enemies and bolt deer penises to your shotgun for extra damage. Although I do disagree that the main character Far Cry 3, that his turn comes out of nowhere, because I really like the reading of Far Cry 3 that the main character is an arsehole. And the moment he gets to the island and has the excuse to kill people without having to feel bad, he just jumps in. Because the game establishes that he is an adrenaline junkie. And what's more adrenaline seeking than hunting a man?
That is very true, but he does kind of accidentally kill the first person and have a bit of a panic attack over it, and then 30 seconds later I ended up with like a flamethrower just burning down tigers or something.
Yeah, and that's why I think like it's a fan reading of that game, and it's never been confirmed by the developers, but I do like that headcanon a lot of fans have, that yeah, the main character of Far Cry 3 was always an arsehole, and it took the island to let him cut loose, because he's portrayed as like just this rich arsehole.
Maybe we could just get a Far Cry game about that guy that got stuck in Nepal for a day where the revolution happened.
Oh, I want a Far Cry game set in the Descent.
I mean, that not much of an open world, is it?
Do you know what we need? We need a Descent VR game.
Oh no,
I will never play.
You can't do that.
We could, but I'm never going to play it. But yeah, for everyone watching at home, thank you for sticking around to the end. We hope you enjoyed this video. We hope as well that you check out today's sponsor if it sounds like it's something that would appeal to you or be of any benefit to you. Like, thank you to today's sponsor. Thank you to our Patreon subscribers. You can find a link to below if you'd like to support us on there. And otherwise, just, yeah, cheers for watching, and we'll see you all next time.
Hell yeah.
The amount of like self-restraint I've had to have not to put jump scares in these horror movie like videos. I think it needs like commending that I've not put in like a jump scare into any of these videos yet. And people are probably watching this thinking, is he going to put a jump scare in after he says this? No, I'm not. You can trust me.
Maybe you should just like on the 1st of November.
Put one in the Christmas videos. What a story, Karl or Lucas. That sure was a great video.
I wasn't
not
sure
stop.
what you were doing for a second.
So welcome to our shout-outs to our big PPs over on Patreon. And PP stands for Patreon Producer. We call them PPs because it's funny to say.
Karl, they're the big PP.
They are the big PPs, yes. And if you would like to become a big PP, you can follow the links found below to become a member of our Patreon and hear your name be shouted out like we're about to do now. And the first name to shout out, Lucas, is someone who's taken a gauntlet I threw down on the ground many, many months ago and decided to put a piece of poo in it and then slap me across the face with it by creating ever more elaborate and difficult tongue twisters. So the first person I need to shout out is through rough, cough, sloughing snuffles, brought tough, thought fraught throngs through slough, slight altins suppose the stress. And it appears that their name got cut off by the character limit over on Patreon, so do be aware of that. But I think I nailed that tongue twister. I also like as well like referencing slough in a tongue twister. It's slough.
Or imagine being able to be magically whisked away to Delaware. Hi, I'm in Delaware.
And I'm going through some rough coughs at the moment, so it's quite fitting. So if I sound a little bit off, I'm just ill still, and I still want to be here to just shout out everyone and give thanks for support. So,
yes, literally fighting through illness. And before we did this, Lucas just looked at me like, Karl, I don't think I'm going to make it.
But the next person we have to thank for their lovely support is Daddy Grunt. And Karl, obviously, we could acknowledge Daddy part of Daddy Grunt, but I'm just going to say, like, in terms of grunting, in terms of, like, acting, What's your favourite kind of like effort in a video game or whatever?
There's a couple for me. I do like the efforts for Isaac Clarke in the Dead Space game, because all of his like grunts of just the like to the point where he literally starts shouting "fuck you" if you swing around his gun enough.
I was going to make a joke of I like the noises that the grunts make in Halo when they're just and screaming.
Like, what's your favourite grunt scream and why is it not again when they get hit by a plasma grenade? And the next person to shout out is somebody who has taken that poo-poo covered gauntlet I mentioned earlier, picked it back up off the floor and slapped me across the other cheek by coming up with a name that is a series of words in a language I do not speak. So let's give that a go, shall we? So, next person to shout out is Tinakui Hochata Oxilane Tomi Sema Sikapatia Ta Nitla Maktia Ipan Kalta Maktilioyan. And if I've mispronounced that, I'm very, very sorry. If you can't tell, I'm very bad at pronouncing words I'm not familiar with. So I deeply apologise for my bad pronunciation, but I do get the feeling that the person who picked that as their name on Patreon kind of wanted to see me fail a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Just the thing is, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Not too much where we're going to get cancelled for like, have you heard how bad that pronunciation is? But enough where they can be like, look at this fucking dude to struggle.
Playa, Yakur.
Of the volcano, Aya Fiatla Yurga. Here.
Eja Fiatla
Joko.
I mean, speaking of struggling, Karl, I don't even have words for the next shout out, so...
That's what I mean. Like, people have like these gauntlets. I feel like there's multiple gauntlets now with multiple kinds of poo in them that people are like throwing at us left and right. So the next person has not even submitted a name. They've submitted a story told via emojis. So Lucas, what is this story?
I don't necessarily know what the story is. I can't quite grasp it, but it does appear to be a series of faces made out of punctuation. So I'm going to do my best to describe what I see.
So Lucas, I now get to say one of my favourite lines from one of my favourite bad game shows. Say what you see.
£290. What do you think it is?
Tip the waiter.
I see burning dragon, uwu face, happy face, glasses face, maybe butt cheeks, little jazz hands face, and then an angry face throwing a table at a very scared looking face. Yeah, did I just absolutely fail at getting the prize in catchphrase?
Like, no one will ever fail harder than just a snake charmer. We mention it all the time. I'm putting the clip in again.
Means concentrate. Here we go. Sean!
Snake charmer.
And the next person to shout out is Rosalindus Memphis. And we need to shout out Rosalindus Memphis, one, for their long-time support, because I recognise this name. It's been in like multiple of these big PP shout-outs. And also, for just having a nice, short, easy-to-pronounce name that doesn't embarrass myself or Lucas.
True.
And I mentioned in the last like big PP shout-out, I do try to put in like a fun clip for each person's name when we shout them out. And the one I keep trying to put in for Rosalindus Memphis is a song with the word Memphis in it.
I find it funny, Karl, because I said months and months ago now that you're going to regret throwing this challenge down so hard, and now here we are. But somebody else that has kept it simple is Kicking Bucket, who also has decided to, I think it was last month, they added in also having a table flip emote in there. So we've got multiple little angry table flip emotes in there.
And Kicking Bucket is a euphemism for, just eating shit. So Lucas, what's the most you've eaten shit recently in a video game?
I mean, I've been playing Hollow Knight Silk Song, Karl. So
say no more.
All I can see in my head is just Hornet, just shah.
Well, for me, it's Borderlands, because I bought Borderlands 4, and I shit you not, it won't boot up.
Oh my god.
It crashes on boot if you're connected to the internet.
It just dies, it kills itself.
Literally, as soon as you start the game, it crashes on boot. So I think the entire game refusing to play. That's the entire game just died. It's great. Amazing. Fuck you, fix that shit, Randy. premium games, premium players, they won't even boot up without being connected to the internet. Fucking legendary. The next person to shout out is Lucille DeSteele. And Lucas, I've kind of been, taking the reins on this one because Lucille DeSteele is another long-time supporter, and I keep putting in clips of real steel. So instead of me putting in a clip from one of my favourite comfort movies, guilty pleasure movies, whatever you want to call it, what's a guilty pleasure / comfort movie for you I can put a clip in from?
Hopefully you can get away with putting a clip in, but my answer is going to be Lilo and Stitch, and not because it's necessarily a guilty pleasure film, but more I take a lot of guilty pleasure in the amount of just Stitch merchandise I constantly buy.
Yeah, and I'd say you get to pick which clip I'm going to put in, but it's of course where Lilo just absolutely goes to town on that little girl and starts delivering the hammer fists.
You're crazy.
Why do they not teach the little girl playing Lilo in the live action reboot MMA shit so she could just deliver the beatdown of all beatdowns?
So this is where you get her in the arm lock. Oh, God. And the next person we have to thank, Karl, is Be of Awesome, who has provided the answer to the riddle that they provided last month, which I'm a big fan of. The idea of giving us a month worth of setup and then a month worth of payoff.
And Lucas, would you like to remind people of the riddle they posed to us last month? Because that's another fun thing people are doing with the big PP shout-outs of posing questions and riddles to us that we have to answer. It's like, answer me, my riddles 3.
So Be of Awesome, the answer to last week's riddle, what lies on the ground 100 feet in the air? It is an upside-down centipede. And
I should have seen that one come in.
Yeah, I read that and was like, how does that make any sense? Why would there be any...
We admitted to not cheating. We could have cheated for that riddle and made it look really smart, but we figured we could cheat for the riddle and look smart, but then people are going to see us try and pronounce these foreign words and just then know we're not that smart. But the next person to shout out is ghost emoji, little ghost emoji, and it is spooky month. Lucas, do you have a favourite ghost or character who is now a ghost? That's not going to be too much of a spoiler.
Well, I'm going to go with Pokemon, as I do love Pokemon, and I'm going to say Mimikyu, because
that's fair.
It's quite fitting for October. I'd say it's in permanent outfit of Pikachu cosplay, because if it's not
wearing a Halloween costume, right?
It's literally wearing a Halloween costume, but if the Halloween costume falls off, everybody dies.
I know it can't be, but could it be? Pikachu's hand!
And then next person we have to thank, Karl, is Split Scream, another person that has just, gracefully not punished us, so I have to thank them for that.
And their name is Split Scream, and we are in Spooky Month, as mentioned. So, Lucas, is there a favourite example you have of what I like to refer to as scream acting, which is where actors just scream real loud and it's very convincing, or, at the very least, entertaining?
Well, my favourite moment of scream acting is in the movie Scream, where they...
I knew it. I knew it. When Matthew Lillard just gnaws on the scenery. Yeah,
yeah, of course. The faking death moment, just, the reveal. It's yeah.
That's right. You gave it up. Now you're no longer a virgin. Dead virgin. Now you gotta die. Those are the rules.
My favourite example of proper scream acting is Shalto Copley in District 9, where he's just screaming in with his really broad South African accent, fuck you fucking prawns. He's so good. He spends half that movie just fucking screaming, and then the other half annihilating people with pigs launched at Mach 3.
Not the Mach 3 pigs.
No one wants the Mach 3 pig. Except for Shalto Copley, because he's fucking prawns! And last but not least, we have to shout out Ranma Satami. And it's really fun as well, because when I booted up my computer this morning to start work, I saw we had a Patreon subscribe, and it was Ranma Satami. I'm like, that's perfect. Me and Lucas are doing the shout outs later today. They picked us at the post and got it at the last possible second to get their name in the credits.
There's my name right there.
Ranma Satami.
Looks more like Brad Storch. No, it says Betty. Betty Symington. Thanks for taking credit for other people's work.
We appreciate the support of our big PPs, our PPs, and just everyone who watches these videos, especially if you're watching it to the end and seeing us talk now. Thank you for watching. We'll see you all next time.